Hello guys, and welcome back to my next tutorial. In this episode I'll be going over how to make a very simple HUD for your game. Now I'm going to be using the variables that we've been working on and with in the previous tutorials. This is the blueprint that we've been working on. It's got the stamina system and the flashlight system all working perfectly. If you want to know how I've done this, then please check out my previous tutorials. I should have a playlist in the card in the top right. Now, what I want to do first is on the begin play, we want to drag off of it and create widget. Now, what this will do is it will construct a new widget object, but it won't add it to the screen. To do that, we need to get this return value and add to viewport. And a little quick tip for Unreal: if you want to change the execution pin order, what you do is left click on the pin and hold control and left click and drag it like that. That's how you change which pin goes into which input and output, essentially. Now we'll create the class just in a minute. We'll go into the content browser. I've already created a new folder for the UI. To do that, you just right click and go up to here to new folder. I'm going to go into mine, right click, go down to user interface, widget blueprint. I'm going to call mine HUD. Open that up. And let's just very quickly, we need to set something up really quickly. In the event graph, just go up here to the top right. And on event constructs, now what this basically means is when the widget is created, you've got a pre-construct here as well, which it happens before. And you've got event construct here, which is, like I said, just when it's constructed. And you've got the event tick down here. You've got all sorts. If you right click and type in event, you should get all sorts of other events as well if you scroll up. So your animation, mounts, enter, leave, construct, destruct, uninitialized, all sorts. You've even got custom events. We use those a lot in the tutorial series, but let's get back on track. For the event construct, drag that off and cast to third person character. Now, with the object dragged off, type get play character, and we'll just leave it at that for the moment. Compile it, back to the third person character. Actually, no, we don't need that. We don't need the cast at all. What we do need is a variable here, and have a player ref, and change that to third person character. Object reference, not class, not soft object or soft class, object reference. We want that to be instance editable, and this is the more important one, expose on spawn. Compile that, go back to the third person character blueprint, and we then set the HUD class. You should now see that we've got a variable in the constructor essentially, and we just want to drag off this and just type in self. What this will basically do is it will set this reference here as this blueprint, if that makes sense. Compile that, and then what we can then do is, if we go exit out of here, back to the UI folder and create two more widgets. We'll just create one first. We'll duplicate this one because the logic is very, very similar. I'm going to call mine stamina. If we go here, delete the canvas panel, get a size box, and progress bar. Now, the reason why we're putting it inside a size box is because we can then override the height and width specifically. I'm going to set my width to 250 by 50. Now, you might see that that hasn't changed, and that's because I forgot to change it from fill screen to desired, and you should see that the aspect ratios are a lot better now. Compile that. And oh wait, I'm on the size blocks. Sorry, you should scroll up and see something called progress, and underneath that, a variable called percentage. Now, if you scroll that all the way to the right, you can see that the maximum field is 1 and the minimum field is 0. So we need to get the stamina somewhere between 0 and 1. To do that, it's very simple. We just divide the stamina that we've got currently by the max stamina. Essentially, just get the percentage between 0 and 1. You can change how it's filled this way. So if you wanted to go from right to left, for example, you do it like that. If you wanted to go fill from the center, you do it like that. If you want it top to the bottom and bottom to top. There we go. I'm just going to keep mine left to right. Now, to actually get this to work, what we need to do is create a binding. And to do that, you just literally just go to the right of that percentage and just click create binding. So what we now need is a variable called player reference. And again, third person character, object type. Compile it and drag off get player reference, get stamina, get max stamina. And as I said, it's a simple division. Return that. And if we go back to the HUD, the event construct, if we go to the designer, you should scroll down and see that in the user created tab, all the way at the bottom, you should see your newly created UI element. And if I quickly go back to the event construct, you should see in the graph, you've got a new variable called the stamina, or whatever you've named your other UI element. You want to just drag that out, just get set player reference. And we just need to drag that player reference that we set as a variable on the spawn to that. And if we compile that and go back to the player, I've just set my active player into a new editor window because it's a bit hard to see the UI sometimes. If we just, yeah, okay, so as you can see, it's regenerating properly, and as I sprint, it starts decaying properly. Sorry if it's a bit hard to follow, I need to work on this map a little bit more, but we'll do that in the future. So that's one element working properly. We just need to right click on it, choose duplicate. I'm going to call mine flashlight. Open that up. And if we go to the graph, sorry, if we go to the progress bar, get percentage 0, that function, and instead of stamina, what we want is instead flashlight, battery, place that in there and get rid of the stamina, and drag that out again, max flashlight, and put that into the denominator, and there we go. In the HUD, we need to go again to the user created, grab the flashlight, bring it to the top right this time. I'm going to set the anchor to the top right as well. What the anchors basically do is helps it to scale properly when the screen size is different. So say if you can kind of see how those work. The stamina is kind of anchored to the top left, the flashlight is bound to the top right, and they just try to stay sort of in those same sort of positions. So if I scroll out and with the different screen sizes, you can kind of see how that works. I'm just going to stick mine back to the usual one, and I'm just going to make sure that they're all set properly. I usually like to keep them nice and squared off, so 100, 100. Now, obviously you can customize the system a lot more using different colors. You can even use images, but I'm just trying to keep it simple for this episode. And if we go back, oh wait, I forgot. button, nearly. We need to set the player reference in the flashlight as well. Get player reference. And just drag that in there. Minimize it and play it. And if I scroll up, you can see that it starts to regenerate immediately. If you're wondering how I'm doing that, then please check out my flashlight tutorial. It's basically just simulating a dynamo in a flashlight. You know, when you wind the flashlight up, it's one of the last things that we did in that episode. And if I turn it off, then you can see that, well, crap. But yeah, that's how you make a simple heads-up display in Unreal. I hope you enjoyed this episode, guys, and please leave me suggestions as to feedback on what I can do in the future. I'm thinking about making a quick little Boolean calculator to simulate like an 8-bit CPU, and I'll show you guys how computers count using Boolean logic. I think that might be pretty cool. And what else I've got planned? I was thinking about doing a night vision tutorial on how to get like an outlast effect. I mean, the season's passed for horror games, but you know, it's never the wrong time for a horror game, is it? So, I'll see you guys in the next episode.